It's been 2 years since 6 world powers signed a landmark deal with Iran to restrict its nuclear program and release the Islamic Republic from sanctions. And the European Union says it is united on ensuring the deal be fully implemented. The deal required Iran to cut its centrifuges by 2/3, slash its stockpile of enriched uranium, and submit to wide-ranging inspections. In return, the West would lift sanctions on Iran, bringing it back into the global marketplace. As a candidate, President Trump called it the worst deal ever, but he has since extended sanctions relief on Iran, with the State Department confirming that Iran is complying with the deal. Well, so 2 years after joining the Iran nuclear deal, is Iran closer to or further away from the bomb? Here in the studio is nuclear proliferation expert Emily Landau of the INSS and our senior international affairs correspondent Owen Alterman. Thank you very much for joining us again. Dr. Landau, I'd like to ask you first about this first explosive question. 2 years after the deal, does the deal really push Iran further away from a nuclear bomb as the West hopes, or are we inching closer to the midnight hour?
Well, in that sense, I think our assessment 2 years on is the same assessment that we had when the deal was presented. In other words, it's the same deal with the same flaws, with the same weaknesses, the same problems. Iran is, not surprisingly, more or less upholding the deal. This was to be expected. Saying that Iran is complying with the deal is not equal to saying that the deal is good, because
so does
why would Iran not comply?
Compliance allow for Iran to edge closer to a nuclear bomb? Just on the surface, I'm trying to understand the basics here.
Again, the assessment is the same as it was 2 years ago. This deal, the biggest problem is that it has an expiration date, 10 to 15 years. Now it's 9 to 14 years. The deal expires without that having been linked or conditioned on any changes in Iran's behavior, in its interest in the nuclear realm.
Dr. Landau, I'd like to ask you a question specifically on this, because President Obama gave the New York Times a remarkable interview at the time of this deal, saying, and I quote, "And the truth of the matter is that Iran will be and should be a regional power." Does this deal contain an inbuilt contradiction? Because by the time it expires, Iran will have acquired enough material power to be able to defy any international pressure if it tries to break out towards a bomb.
One of the problems with the deal is that it does enable Iran to continue to work on its uranium enrichment capabilities. It's allowed to work on a whole range of advanced centrifuges. It has plans in year 10 of the deal, again, which is 9 years from now, to install thousands of advanced centrifuges, which it will begin to operate. It will be able to accumulate. It will still be under the cap, but it will be perfecting its capabilities. It will have a huge industrial nuclear infrastructure when the deal ends. And yes, it will be more difficult to stop Iran when the deal expires than it was before the deal was concluded in the first place. And in addition, of course, there have been some violations. There could be more violations. Iran needs to continue to be watched like a hawk. And what the Trump administration is signaling is that Iran's regional profile will now be part of its overall review of Iran policy. In other words, because this deal doesn't stop Iran in the nuclear realm, all of its regional behavior becomes tremendously relevant to the overall assessment. And so all of its provocations that we've seen since the deal was presented, the missile tests that it is continuing with, its activities, military activities in Syria, other places, transfer of weaponry to Hezbollah, building factories now in Lebanon for Hezbollah, and I just read a recent report also in Syria. So all of this behavior is part of the profile that the Trump administration will be reviewing. Unfortunately, the Europeans won't be.
The Europeans won't. Owen Alterman, Dr. Emily Landau, thank you very much.